Good evening, one and all, for attending the Facebook webinar from the Rainbow Children's Hospital, Hyderabad. So today I would like to talk about the snoring in children. Is it really healthy or any harmful features with this one? We'll definitely every day we'll sleep in the night time and get up in the morning. So what is exactly the sleep? A natural periodic state of rest for the mind and body in which the eyes usually close and consciousness is completely or partially lost, so that there is a decrease in the bodily movement and responsiveness to the external stimulus. This is called completely a state of unconsciousness, but still able to wake up to the normal stimuli. So we all know that how many hours we had to sleep, uh, how long we had to sleep. We don't. Most of the people may not know completely. So newborns, that means up to the 3 months of age, they require a sleep of 17 hours in a day. Substitute school children around 10 to 13 hours, school age children 9 to 11 hours. Coming to the adults, it's like a 7 to 9 hours is required. But due to urbanization, due to technology development, lot of TV, smartphones, and a lot of entertainment gadgets, our sleep has come down drastically. So, okay, we are sleeping in the night. What are the stages? There are stage one, stage two, and stage three and four REM sleep. That means there are totally four stages of sleep. So once just in the bed, they're falling to asleep. That is called stage one sleep, where you can close your eyes. In a stage two sleep, heart rate will slow down, body temperature also will drop down. And stage three, stage four sleep, also known as deep sleep, where the lot of healing will happen because the brain will totally go into the good restful condition, and the growth hormone will secrete in the deep sleep, and healing will happen in the deep stages of sleep. So this sleep cycle keep repeating whole in a night. 3 to 4 cycles depends upon the how long we are sleeping in the bed. So is it like a what is snoring? And sleep, snoring, sleep apnea, all are sleep related disorders. So snoring is a sound generated when the air is passing through the narrow airway. So what is sleep apnea? Okay, snoring and the sleep apnea. Pediatric sleep obstructive sleep apnea is a sleep disorder in which your child breathing is partially or completely blocked repeatedly during the sleep. The condition is due to narrowing or a blocking of the airway, upper airways. So here in the picture, we can see when we are breathing through the nose, it'll go through the mouth, behind part of the mouth, then it go into the lungs. When we'll open the mouth in a supine position, automatically our tongue will fall back, then kind of the blocks our small tongue, that is called uvula. Then the nasal breathing will get hindrance. Then we have to breathe through the mouth. So then in this air currents, when you're breathing in and out, the uvula will keep vibrating to the in and out, inspiration and out expiration. That time the sound is generated. That is called snoring. So you can see like most of us nowadays in a lockdown period, we are have more time for the family. So we are keep observing most of the times in the our how our kids are sleeping. You might have observed how long the baby is sleeping, how long baby is snoring, how frequently a baby is snoring. So what position baby is comfortable and what position baby is getting more snoring. So usually in a kids will see the more bigger adenoids and more bigger tonsils. Here if you see here, the nose nasal passage is so big, the adenoids will be located in behind part of the nose exactly. The same way, the tonsils will be located in the behind part of the mouth. So these are all normal structures in our body. They have a good function like a protective first line of immunity, and it will prevent from the entering of the infection into the rest of the body. So it will secure IgA immunoglobulin, first line of the defense. Sometimes repeated infections, repeated cold cough. Because of this one, the immunoglobulin producing cells in the tonsils and adenoids will get destroyed. So suppose in a year, more than 5 to 6 episodes of the throat pain, cold cough will come. There is a chances of these immunoglobulin producing cells will get destruction, and they may not able to produce the immunity. In that condition, the tonsils itself will get infection, then will give a lot of throat pain and fever, sometimes cold cough also. In this scenario, tonsils and adenoids become swollen, that causes airway blockage. So what are the symptoms? Suppose in this scenario, when usually our kids will snore a lot, louder snoring, like a snoring, and some pauses during the snoring, and restart the snoring, and there's always restlessness during the sleep. Always baby will be tossing, turning this way, that way, and kicking out, kicking. Sometimes nighttime they'll be like a bad coughing also, coughing. They'll sometimes vomit also. They'll feel some choking episodes. Most of us will keep like observing our kids like a mouth breathing, lot of frothing from the mouth, drooling of the saliva. Sometimes some parents might have observed that even in the AC, some part of the sleep, the kids will have some sweating. There is a minor symptoms like a bedwetting. And kids will be more comfortable in a 2 to 3 pillows in their back, so that in that position they are sometimes more comfortable. Here one good point is infant and children with obstructive sleep apnea does not always snore. They might have just a disturbed sleep also. Here come to the how the kids, those who have this nighttime sleepiness or like a nighttime disturbed sleep, how they behave in the daytime. In the morning, how much you wake them up, they may not able to get up in the morning. They'll be lazy. They want to stick to the bed most of the times. Sometimes some little elderly kids may complain of morning severe headaches. In the school, this is a small video clip. We might observe our kids sometimes dozing in the school, and sometimes they become very irritable. They have unexplained frustrations, anger, even small issues also. Sometimes they may not able to tolerate exercise, and they'll feel very fast like a fatigue, tiredness. Some kids will have a poor growth. They may not grow well, they may not eat well, or they may not don't have a proper growth height also. Here if you can see, some kids will have a nasal voice, poor clarity of the speech. So, or every children will snore, or every snoring is having a sleep apnea. Who are them who have a more prone to the sleep apnea and complications? Like we'll see this. those kids who have a cleft lip and cleft palate, and those who have a small lower chin, lower jaw, and those who have a genetic disorders like a Down syndrome, Cruzen syndrome, Robinson syndrome, neuromuscular issues like a cerebral palsy, myasthenia gravis, muscular dystrophy. These kids neuromuscular means they don't have a strength. The muscles are very soft. There's a post-transplant patients also. Those kids we have who undergone like a bone marrow transplant or liver transplant, who born with a low birth weight, preterm born. There's a family history of the sleep apnea, and obesity is one of the main issues here. These are the special children. Really, they will land up in a sleep apnea. So, okay, what will happen when the baby is snoring for a long duration, baby is struggling for breathing, and what will happen if you won't treat them, or if you won't attend them, if you won't do this? See, there are very, very important complications which have a severe effect on kids' heart and lungs. Neurocognitive issues, that means learning disability, sometimes dental issues also. Those kids like who are getting like permanent teeth after 7 to 8 years, who may observe this kind of a scenario. Usually the parents will take the kids, why my child is having this abnormal teeth, they'll go to the dental surgeon. So dental surgeon will have a question like how the breathing pattern and all. Once they'll come back to the history, yes, parents may sometimes realize that yeah, my child used to snore, used to breathe to the mouth for a long duration. We thought it's like my grandparents are snoring like that. That's why even my children also got the same habituation. That's what some may be overlooked about this problem. So these are the dental issues because of the severe chronic mouth breathing. So how do you evaluate when to we have to go to the hospital or when to meet the doctor and which doctor? So those kids who are sleeping issues, snoring issues, not able to sleep properly, and always tossing up and have a morning headaches and dental issues. In this, those kids who have this kind of the symptomatology, and how many days in a week? Suppose more than 4 days in a week, or like if you observe like most of the times your kid is snoring, then this is the right symptomatology like a diary where you can meet any pediatric ENT specialist. Once you meet, what are the expectations from the pediatric ENT? Once you go to there, so the ENT doctor will examine the child from the appearance point of view. Is there any small lower jaw or like a dental issues, any adenoids and tonsils, like any turbinate hypertrophy? All these things will come in a general examination by the pediatric ENT surgeon. Then, if the less than 5 years of age, we can take the X-ray to find out the how the enlarged adenoids. And more than 5 years, usually the CT scan is the better option. There is a for a special children. There is a one more very excellent study called polysomnography, also called sleep study, wherein whole night we can study how the baby is sleeping, what stage of sleeping he is getting a snoring, what stage of sleeping he is not able to breathe, and what position he is not able to breathe, what position is the snoring is more louder, what is the oxygen levels in the blood, so how many times he is beating the legs, and how the heart rate. So what is the brain waves? So all these parameters we can able to assess in a polysomnography. With this one, we can able to categorize the child into mild sleep apnea, moderate sleep apnea, severe sleep apnea. Even loss of one breath, that means if he stopped for one breath duration also, significant in the children's. It is coming to the adult population, up to 5 apnea hypopnea index is considered as a normal. DISE means drug induced sleep endoscopy. This also requires for a special children. Special children means those who have craniofacial abnormalities, syndromic features, neuromuscular disorders, those children. So we have to do drug induced sleep endoscopy. In this thing, we'll make the child into the sleeping position, natural sleeping position. Then we'll pass a small flexible camera. We'll observe each and every breathing, each and every stage of sleep. As previously we discussed, there are the 4 stages of sleep: stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. This also measured with there's a monitor called a BIS monitor. So with that one, we are able to know how the brain waves, depending upon the brain waves, we are able to find which stage of the sleep and what are the structures which are collapsing and what are the structures mainly causing the problem for the snoring and sleep apnea. And also overnight pulse oximetry. So from the March 22nd onwards, because of lockdown, we all having a gadgets like a temperature, a thermometer, and also pulse oximetry. In this pulse oximetry, we can able to know how much oxygen levels in our blood. So this is also very important. When we are snoring, when we are stopped during the snoring, some pauses will be there. During the pauses, how much oxygen is dropping down? At least more than 5 numbers will drop down. That is also significant. So nowadays in the house, everybody's house have a pulse oximeter. Try to monitor 1 or 2 days about the pulse oximeter. Even there are some gadgets also will be there now available for each and every person. That is like a smart watches also there. Apple Watch, like a Fitbit. There are some good gadgets which can monitor your pulse rate and also heart rate and also oxygen saturation. This is also will gives like a how your sleeping pattern and what are the abnormalities during the sleep. These are all the things how we can evaluate. So what is the treatment actually? What is the goal of the treatment? So we have to restore restful sleep. There are the medical treatments and also surgical treatment. Those who have airway issues like any blockage in the airway. So medical treatment. Those kids who is getting a repeated cold cough, we had to evaluate with any allergic tendency. Then treat for the allergic issues. And repeated cold cough, we can give this for the acute infections. We can treat with the antibiotics and also. And surgical treatments, usually in the kids, adenoids and tonsils will be enlarged. Sometimes, if those who have a more allergic tendency, they can have a turbinate hypertrophy. Sometimes septal deviation also. That means septum is the partition between the two nostrils. Some kids will have a polyps in the nose. Some kids will have a congenital anomalies like a cranial atresia, laryngomalacia, some of the tongue lesions, or meningocele. Those very special children, very rarely you can see those kind of the conditions. Those are things require compulsory surgical intervention. So, okay, surgery. What are the things we can usually able to manage in the house? So usually most of the kids will love pets. Kids, dogs or like a cats. Those always will release a lot of fur. These fur will have a lot of allergic tendency because the pets will always move in kids' rooms. Kids always will play with the pets only. Most of the time they'll be with the pets only. So usually there is a chance that those kids will have a more allergic tendency than rest of the rest of the kids. And parents, like those who will smoke, the kids will also will smoke along with us. That is called passive smoking. The smoke also will aggravate allergic tendency, which causes the stuffiness in the nose. So obese children, we had to give the weight loss treatment, healthy diet. Please stop the big diet like chips, kurkure, pizza, burgers, the these kind of thing. If you can stop them, like cell phones and TV and mobile games. With this one, lack of physical activity. So please try to improve the physical activity. Ask them to go out, do some cycling, skipping, basketball, whatever is available for your kid. At least ask them to dance. Okay, when they are looking for the TV, let them put some dance. Let them do the physical activity along with the entertainment. Maintain the sleep hygiene. Yes, sleep hygiene means the bedroom by 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, kids have to go to the bed. So once they go to the bed, there shouldn't be any gadget with them. There should be any sound. And put a very dim light so that don't use the blue color light. Will always will have a sleep disturbances. And these are the main important things. Try to avoid the gadgets. Try to stop the horror movies, these kind of the things, which always stimulates our brain and our activity. And sleeping positions also. So always if you sleep in a side position, the airway will open up and gives some more breathing and it gives a good breathing also. So I used to come across a lot of patients and parents will keep telling that, sir, how much I am asking my kid to do the pranayama, yoga, but he's not listening to me. So yes, how much it will help? Yes, definitely yoga will help because yoga contains a lot of bodily movements, bodily stretch movement, and also requires a lot of concentration. With this one, your stress levels will come down automatically. Then your body will come into the activity. That means it's a part of exercise. Definitely, yoga will definitely will you grow. So nowadays, there's a lot of restriction to go into the play area and the gyms and everything. But yoga can be done in your bedroom also, in your balcony also. Please try to start the yoga. Pranayama. So there's a breathing through the one nose and leaving through the other nose. So this also will help to improve the ventilation through the nose and to the lungs also. There's a good principle there that is called nasal cycle, also called nasobronchial reflex also there. In this one, if suppose the nose is blocked, automatically the receptors are there, which are also connected to the lungs receptors. When a nose is blocked, automatically the lungs bronchioles also will get constriction. That means air entry through the mouth also will be difficult. So that's why we'll keep saying that when the cold is there, we have to breathe through the mouth. When we are breathing through the mouth, still you feel the breathlessness, chest tightness. Why? Because there is no communication from the nose via receptors to the lungs. That's why even though how much you take the air through the mouth, but still you feel the chest tightness. This is the reason. So nasal breathing always will help to improve your lung breathing also. And steam inhalation, yes, definitely will help. It decreases the mucus production in the nose, and also increases the more mucociliary clearance. Like our nose will have a lot of mucociliary cells, which always keep constantly trapping the dust particles, bacteria in the air, and keep neutralizing them and throwing into the posteriorly. So the steam inhalation will definitely will improve hydration of the nose and also mouth, your airway system definitely will help. So last but not the least, Vicks VapoRub. Every parent and those who have a kids will have the Vicks VapoRub or like a eucalyptus oil, like some essential oils. How much it really will help? Is it really curing the disease or like a less helping? Yes, Vicks VapoRub have all volatile substances. Once you will sniff that one, the volatiles, the substances will reach to the top portion of the nose. Once they reach the top portion of the nose, the top portion is having the sensory receptors in the nose. Sensory receptor automatically will become stimulated, then gives a feeling of the well-being. That means nose is almost opened up. Even though physically it may not help, but psychologically it will definitely will improve the breathing. Automatically you feel that breathing is improved. Yes, once I'll put a Vicks VapoRub, my kid stopped snoring. Definitely will have for the mild snoring, mild sleep apnea, all the things, home remedies definitely will help. For a severe thing, a moderate and severe thing definitely requires a doctor consultation. And that always we can help our kids to breathe. So breathing is such an essential thing, so that breathing contains a lot of oxygen. If you can't take the normal oxygen when you're snoring and sleep apnea, it is difficult for us to take up the oxygen going into the lungs. And also nowadays, everybody using a mask. So if already compromised nose, you are not able to breathe. When the child is breathing through the mouth, if you put a mask, you can imagine that the child may not able to breathe properly, and they will struggle more. And also, most of us, our kids may not able to explain everything. So they may not able to explain, Mama, I have a nose block. I am not able to breathe. If it's a bigger child, definitely they'll come with a complaints. For a smaller child, if the snoring, if you observe like a more frequently snoring, like a more frequently is not able to sleep well, all of disturbed sleep. Please, it's a suggestion to go and meet any pediatric ENT surgeon. With that, I would like to conclude my presentation. I think I have enlightened a lot of the things about what is sleep apnea, and who are the kids which requires immediate doctor attention, who are the kids which requires like a observation, either genetic association, and also what are the home remedies also we have discussed. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. If anybody have a questions, I'm happy to answer all the questions. My kid has a dry ear, keeps scratching inside. Is there any worry too? Should I come to the hospital? Yes. Even though this is not related to what is my topic, but still I would like to answer your question. So when a kid is having a dry ear, see, there's a two types of wax and skin tendency also, dry skin and also oily skin. The same way, those kids who have a dry skin, the same skin will be there in the ear also. So there may be chance of dry skin also. Dry skin will have a lot of itchy sensation. Second point, sometimes a dry wax will be there, which gives a lot of itchiness. They'll scratch a lot. Once they scratch, the nails will be there for the kids. They'll cause a small abrasions in the skin inside the ear. Will cause a more itchy again day by day. So better to have a ENT specialist consultation so that he can look into the ear what is the condition, so that he can help you better way. The second question is it more during the sleep too, doctor? Yes. Sometimes kids will have some mannerisms, so that they'll rub the nose, like they'll rub the eyes, they'll scratch the ears also. That also one of the reason. My child have a water in the ear. What you suggest? So water in the ear means that is a middle ear infection. Sometimes if they have a wax in the ear, even they can absorb the water from the environment or while taking the bath also. The wax will swell up and gives a feeling of the water in the ear. Even sometimes kids will keep scratching, that gives a watery sound in the ear. So better to have a the visit. So even though there's one more question is like okay, my wife age 31 years have snoring problem. Whom should we consult, a pulmonologist or ENT? So better to consult the ENT first, because snoring starts from the nose and throat, not from the lungs. If the lungs means it is a wheezing. So usually snoring always the upper airway issue. Better to have a ENT surgeon, or those are specialists with the snoring and sleep apnea. Yes, I am a specialist for snoring and sleep apnea. So my 12 years old daughter mostly beats from mouth. Her speech also tend to be fast and unclear sounds, as if she is not using nose. She snores heavy when she has cold. Please suggest. So 12 years heavy snoring. That means you are observing, means most of the times in a week also you might have seen that lot of snoring is there. I think she requires a the proper evaluation. That is my suggestion. So my 5 years old kid have a sleep teeth. I didn't understand sleep teeth means is it okay? Sleep teeth biting and snoring problem. Do I need to worry and consult a doctor? Yes, it's nothing to be worried, but it's all treatable condition. But teeth grinding, snoring, all related to sleep apnea. Better to have a ENT evaluation. Snoring a lot at night. Why? Okay. Hi, doctor. My child is 9 years. Is snoring a lot at night. Why it comes and will it affect on health? Definitely, snoring will affect the health of the child. In what way? Suppose if his baby is snoring, definitely there is a narrowing of the airway. Once narrowing of the airway, definitely the amount of the breath which is required for the lung is not going. When the amount of the breath is not going means the oxygen levels also will be come down, and a lot of negative pressure will fall over the lungs and heart. So there is evidence showing that there is a lung issues, heart issues also. Heart issues means the rhythm abnormalities will be there. Sometimes dilated cardiomyopathy also will be there, and lung issues like a car pulmonary, which is one of the condition which is a complication of this prolonged snoring and sleep apnea. So please recommended doctor or specialist at Rainbow Hydernagar. I am Dr. P.V. Murthy. I am at a Hydernagar branch also. So can take a chance, like come and meet me. I'll definitely will help you. Yes, myofunctional therapy definitely will help, but it is a very good thing. If it is a mild sleep apnea, definitely myofunctional therapy will help. But before doing the myofunctional therapy, better to have evaluation of the with the sleep study, that is a polysomnography, and also drug-induced sleep endoscopy. What are the muscles really falling? Is it only tongue muscles, or like the pharyngeal muscles? Is it laryngeal muscles? Like any adenoids or tonsils? What are the things? So the myofunctional therapy definitely will help for those who have a hypotonia. Hypotonia means those have a less tone. That means the strength of the muscle is not so great. So whenever they're sleeping in the back, the tongue will fall back. So that causes some more of this snoring and sleep apnea. Definitely myofunctional therapy will help. Any more questions so that I can help you? Here I would like to conclude this session. Good sleeping is very essential. Second point is, please always don't ignore the snoring, especially in children, so that we can prevent a lot of complications like teeth abnormalities, cardiac issues, and dental issues, and try to evaluate and try to treat as early as possible for this kind of things so that we can prevent the sleep apnea. Thank you very much. Okay. Can nose drops help to reduce the snoring? Definitely nose drops. There's a breath strips also there, will help. These drops will help in those conditions, those who have a acute cold, like acute rhinitis. In those conditions, those nasal drops will have a decongestion property, will improve the airway, but that doesn't give the permanent solution. Any questions? Thank you very much. Thank you for spending and some time. I think I given a good the overall view about the sleep apnea, snoring, and how to take care of the home remedies. And thank you very much.